So here's my final video on the Mercedes Superba that I've been working on. This beautiful machine from 1938, which was gifted to me by a friend. As I said before, it had been owned by her father, and she remembers playing with it as a child. But she was moving flats and she didn't want to keep it anymore and offered it to me. And I am so pleased to have been able to restore it. I made a little list actually of what I've managed to achieve with this machine, and I've used the typeface, and you can see that one of the main things I had to do is fix the ribbon reverse, fix the shift lock mechanism which wasn't working. I had to fix the broken ribbon guide, replace the flat paper bale rollers, remember they were quite squashed, fix the left hand paper bale spring, which was not fixed in place at the bottom down there. What else did I have to do? Remove the platen, cleaned it nicely, removed and fixed the flat feed rollers by sanding them down a bit and adding a little bit of shrink hose. I cleaned the paper tray, which had some grit in it and it wasn't, some dirt, it wasn't entirely smooth. I've cleaned all the internal mechanisms. I've cleaned the segment and the type slugs. They didn't really need much. I think the beauty of this ribbon cover is they really were in amazing condition. That was, they were really quite clean. I've polished the outer body panels. I've repainted the missing lettering on the keys. If you remember, half of the quotation mark was missing, a little bit off the top of the S. There was no D, and only partially the E was showing. And I'm, again, really pleased with how that turned out. So the only thing I have left to do is to restore the case and clean up the lock and fix it a little bit. It's a little bit loose. But I don't think that's going to take much. And I'm really waiting for this coronavirus thing to finish so that I can properly get some materials and things that I want to use to restore it with. Putting that aside, I was really lucky at Christmas to receive this as a gift. Mercedes Superba Gebrauchsanweisung. Yeah, that's like the handbook manual for it. And it's one of these facsimile copies that you can get online. It almost looks like the real thing. The print quality is amazing on this. It's not in book form, but it opens out like this. It's all in German, but the great thing is I'm learning German at the moment because I live in Austria, and so it's been really helpful looking at the German terms for all these parts of the machine. But you can find that online quite easily by just typing in Mercedes Superba handbook or manual, and you'll find the link to it. If I find it again, I'll maybe post the link in the bottom of my video in case anybody wants to order that if they have one. But it's really good. As long as you can speak German or have it Google Translate will translate it for you. So let's pop that over there. And I thought in the final video I would just highlight a few of the features on this machine. As you can see, I can't stress enough how amazing the decals have survived from 1938. That's quite amazing, really. And the paintwork is actually in great condition. I have used a little bit of car scratch remover, gently in circular motions polished it, because there were like lots of tiny little specks of, I guess, dirt that settled there for a while, and that actually cleaned it off really quite nicely. And I did get that slightly brown tarry, I don't know if it's from nicotine, coming off the machine, but I didn't overwork it. I just used it where I needed it and polished it out with a soft cloth, and I hope you agree that it looks absolutely incredible. What's nice about this machine is there's not many screws and bolts on the outer panels. It's all really on the back. So to dismantle the body panels, all you have to do down here is take off 6 screws there on either side. And look at that. Every part of that decal is intact there. And then to ease it off, you have to gently maneuver it around that. But before you do that, when you lift the machine up underneath, there are, I hope you can see it on here, there are 2 bolts, one on either side there, that you have to undo to release this panel. And of course, in gently wiggling it, what you have to remember to do, lift half, is this panel here comes off, and it's fixed on with 2 screws here, and a little tab that slots into the side of the panel there. You can't see it, but it slots into there. Sorry, dry throat. And I said this ribbon cover, which is often missing on these machines, has really protected the segment in there. It's really quite clean and tidy. Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit hoarse. If you remember, I've replaced the spools with metal ones, and I've got the guide on there. That brass guide does show a little bit, but I really, really don't mind about that. You see there's a little tab that slots in the bottom there, and that helps to line it up. Incidentally, if you notice the colours there, the red, yellow for the stencil and black, I haven't glued it in, but you'll notice I use those coloured tabs that you get for post-it notes. There's a little piece of like plastic or something in there, the original one, and it had paint on it and it was really quite dull. So I've used those post-it note tabs for the red and yellow just to brighten it up a little bit. But I haven't glued it because I don't want to make it permanent in there. That slots in nicely, and it's got those two holes on the top. Let me just align it. There we go. And it just pops on like that really, really nicely. So taking off the panels is really quite easy. Of course, you have to be mindful when you put it on about how you manoeuvre it over some of the parts of the mechanism. And I was very close to forgetting to get the space bar set, but I learnt that on my Ardler over there, so I remembered not to screw it all in and find out the space bar wasn't locked in place. So the features of the keyboard you can see here, it's very simple keyboard. You've got the margin release there, the Rücktaste or back key here, and you've got the two shift locks there. Looking over here, I hope you can see it okay. We've got the paper, the release actually lever here, which makes the platen spin freely if you want to line it up with something. It's as simple as that. I hope you can see, maybe not at this angle with the camera, but down here, this little lever, you've got 3 settings, 1, 2 and 3 for the line spacing. That's all that's down there. And carriage return, there's no carriage lever on this side, it's only on that side. On the back, the good thing to point out on the back is when you lift this up, and it's nice and clean in there. Hopefully you can just about see it on there on the camera. There's 2 red dots there, and when you line and slide up the 2 margin tab things here up to that red line, they kind of click in place when you get right into the middle, and you should do that when the carriage is centered. And when you do, that's actually what locks the carriage in place. There isn't a manual lock. You just literally slide these 2 tabs. Oops, can I do it in there? Yeah, and I can feel that slightly click in place. This one, oops. There you go, slide it in there. Oops, going past the bell. And it might slide a bit more. I'm not sure I've centered the carriage enough. But actually I can feel the carriage is not moving either way now. And so if you're travelling with this, oops, there we go, nice clicky sound. That's actually how you lock it. Push that down. Oops, I've got that lever over the way. Go back over, we've got the paper rest, which does extend up. If I lift it up like that. Okay. I have actually added a little piece of rubber to the end of it. Oh gosh, I just realised you can't see that. Let me go back around. I've added a little bit of shrink hose to that because when it folds down, it's not supposed to hit that, and it doesn't quite hit it, but there was a little bit of paint worn away from there, so I have put a little bit of car body paint on that just to cover up where the little paint has been chipped off. So to protect in future, I've put a little bit of shrink hose on there, like a rubbery buffer in a way, so that doesn't hit it in any way. On this side, you've got the paper release here. Lift it forward and it frees up the paper tray. You can feed the paper in, lead it back and it brings it down. And I think with the paper down, when you go forward, brings the paper bell up, feed in. It doesn't automatically go down, you just have to push that back down. I'll just demonstrate feeding the paper to show you. I hope that works okay. In this angle, yeah. So pop it in there. So let's bring that forward. Get the paper in, lock it in place. That feeds so nicely since I worked on those. Do that. Pop it down. Let's put that paper rest up. Oh, I don't need to, well, maybe extend it a little bit. And as you can see, if I type in the machine, oh, it might move a little bit because I'm on the turntable, but what can we do in here? Ooh, I'm not typing very well here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, but just to demonstrate, the keys are all nice and snappy, and again, I'm really pleased with how they came out. It's a really nice feel to it. I don't know if you think it's very loud. I don't think it's not overly loud. I've got an Adler, no, gosh, what is that one? I've got an Alpina SM24, I think it is. Wow, that's seriously a loud machine. But this has got a really nice click to it. It's nice and tappy, sounds lovely. Let's cut that. So, and again, I'm chuffed with the paper bell rollers. This one's not bad, but this one's a little bit wobbly as you type, but honestly, I can live with that for sure. So, I hope you enjoy that. It's the Mercedes Superba, absolutely beautiful machine in incredible condition. I'm so lucky to have this machine as a gift. My intention is to write a lovely letter of thanks on using this typewriter, and I shall post this video and maybe the links to the process of restoring it to the lovely lady Elizabeth who gave it to me. She's a Facebook friend and a work colleague of my partner, and she knew that I like typewriters. So she actually offered me 2 machines, but I really couldn't take the other machine. It would have needed a lot more work to it. But this one, how can you not look at that and think, I've got to try and fix that? And this has been my lockdown project, and I've enjoyed every part of trying to work out how to fix this. Thanks again to Brian and James on the maintenance page of the antique typewriter maintenance group page on Facebook, who helped me a little bit with the shift lock. You can see that works. Oops, sorry, that works nicely now. Perfect. Everything on this machine works perfectly now. So yeah, beautiful machine. Thank you so much for watching the videos. I hope it was useful to you. That's the reason I posted it, because when I started the project, I did as much research as I could to find out anyone who had a Superba, but I couldn't really find much online. So I thought, well, if I chart some of the progress of the restoration, I don't think you need to see me actually doing some of the things like forcing the little roller onto the rubber and stuff like that. But I hope it helps you to know where to look for maybe various things if you need help with your Superba or any other machine of a similar nature. This is an Underwood universal chassis apparently as well, so if you have something similar, maybe it'll help you. Enough waffling. Thank you very much for your patience, and I hope you enjoyed that.